I posted something recently on my Patreon site. It was a photograph of my studio here, and with just a little quote from me that said, "We all need a creative space." And some people said, "Oh yeah, I really get that." And other people said to me, what do you mean by that exactly? A couple of people said as well, "Well, it's okay for you. You've got a studio. You know, I live in a small apartment. I don't actually have that." Well, it's not so much about that. I mean, it's only recent years that I've had this studio. It's taken many years to actually get my act together to have this, and I'm very, very fortunate to be in this position to have this space. But this is the physical space. This is the physical creative space. It's a room. Now, there is also a non-physical creative space that's here. We have to finding the time, finding the place, finding the space where we can put other things aside just for a moment. And it can be just a short time. It can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. But put everything aside and just focus within that non-physical space, that space in your mind. It can be a number of things. I mean, it can be in your home. You can do that. You can go outside. You have that physical space. And it's something you can just do for short periods of time. It's not as if this is one of the things everyone says, "Oh, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that." Yeah, you don't have to sit down and practice for 8 hours a day. You can just dip in and dip out. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. But that creative space, every so often you can start using that, and then you get into the non-physical creative space. Then when you get into that physical creative space, you can switch on and then put into practice those things that you've been working out in your non-physical creative space. And I mean, another thing is, I mean, I have this room, I have this studio here, which isn't very big, but and I've got everything I need. I've got my guitars, I've got recording equipment here, I've got cameras, I've got lights, everything. So I've got all the things here to do what I want to do. But you may not need that you can actually, even if it's just a corner of your room, or just this one place it's a chair. This is the chair that I always sit on to play the guitar in the corner. A lot of the playing that I did when at home, I actually used to sit on the sofa and with the TV, with the sound down. Oh, sometimes I put the sound up and play along to things. That was very good for ear practice. But that was my creative space when I didn't have a room. And I found that very effective because I was combining that very modest physical space with the non-physical creative space that I had going on up here. Now, another thing to do, and it's very easy to do this now because of the way technology has moved forward, and this is so important, I tell everyone about this, about practicing, is record yourself. If you're practicing the guitar or you're creating something, you're working on something, always record yourself. I got into that not so much to listen to myself back and work on things at first. It was just so I would remember something. If I came up with an idea, I would record it just as something that I could go back to as reference, because if I didn't do that, it was just gone. And so many ideas, so many tunes that I've written in my non-physical creative space have just disappeared. So record yourself, so important. We can all do that now. You can do it on your smartphone. It's dead easy. Even if it doesn't sound particularly good, it's not good recording quality, it doesn't matter. Because very often when we're playing, we're not listening to ourselves. We're just playing away, and we're going through putting our fingers where they need to be. You'd be surprised how many musicians actually don't listen to themselves when they're playing. And then when they record themselves and they play it back, they get a bit of a shock because, wow, do I sound like that? So when you're playing, always listen to yourself. And by recording, that will help tremendously. You may not like to hear what comes back. You know, I have this image in my mind of what I look like, which is what I looked like when I was about 25. So when someone takes a photograph of me, or I see myself on camera like this, I suddenly go, oh, I'm not 25 anymore. Yeah, I don't look like that anymore. So that's that little. So I've got this thing going on in my head. That happens to just about everybody. It's just one of these things that happens. So in the same way, when you're playing, you might think you're playing in a certain way because you know you're playing all the right notes. But another thing is if you're working with a metronome to learn to play in time, just playing along to a metronome without recording yourself doesn't work, because you think you're playing in time. Then you record yourself and you say, yeah, that was good, I was really perfectly in time with that metronome, and you record yourself and you hear yourself going all over the place. So yeah, in your physical creative space, record yourself. A room is perfect, but a corner of a room works too. It's more than anything, it's psychological, just getting into that space in your mind. Also, if you have a room that sounds good can be very inspiring. And also for some people, just outdoor spaces can be very good, in their garden, or take your guitar out into the woods or down to the beach or into the local park or something and have a little place. Sometimes that can be very inspiring. So that's just a few thoughts on the creative space, the physical creative space and the non-physical creative space. Some of the things that I've found very useful over the years that I've been playing.